Hi, this is Hemant, and in this video, I'll show you how to write JavaScript interactivity along with your Flash document so you can publish your project as interactive WebGL content. You may download the zip file provided with the tutorial if you wish to follow along this video. I have a simple content created here in Flash Professional CC. The project type I chose at start was WebGL. I have the basic artwork created and the file is saved in a folder on my desktop. I am shortly going to write JavaScript code to add interactivity. Now before I write any script, I'll publish the FLA file so I get all the WebGL content files generated. The set of files that gets published are HTML and the assets folder containing all the assets required to render the animation. Flash Professional CC also generates a WebGL runtime player in the libs subfolder. This runtime is a JavaScript library that loads the assets and renders it. It also plays back the animation you might have created using the timeline in your project. At first, to be able to access the assets from the JavaScript you will eventually write, you need to make sure the assets are accessible. For this, we need to specify the linkage name in the library panel. This will help us instantiate the movie clips from within JavaScript. Let me do that in my project. I'll spot the asset I want to be able to access later and double-click on the linkage entry. Specify a name, I'll call it star, and that's it. In many cases, you might also want to define the frame labels to specify different points in the timeline. You can use those labels later in your script to navigate through the timeline. This is done by using the go to and play or go to and stop functions to jump to specific frames. For example, you would use the frame labels when you want the user to navigate to a different section or when you want the user to navigate to a different screen in your game or app. In this example, I have only one screen to show, so I won't be using frame labels. Alright, once you are ready to publish, press Ctrl Enter on Windows or Command Enter on a Mac to publish. So you have successfully converted the artwork in Flash to a GPU-friendly format. It may take a while to finish publishing as it is computationally intensive. There are ways to decrease this time by optimizing your artwork. One way is to minimize the number of lines and curves. This will help publish and render the content faster. Once you publish, quickly check the project folder. You should see all the files generated. Great! Now I'll open Flash Professional CC. Open the Publish settings from the File menu. In the settings, make sure you uncheck the Overwrite HTML option. You need to do this because once we write the JavaScript code, we'll be republishing the files from Flash Professional CC. We want the assets to be republished along with our JavaScript files, but we do not want the HTML file to be published again. The HTML file is where we are now going to write JavaScript code to add interactivity. So, publishing that again is only going to reset the HTML file, erasing all the JavaScript code we will write shortly. Once you are done, save the FLA. Next, we start with the JavaScript. Open a text or a script editor. In my case, I'm using Adobe Dreamweaver CC. Open the HTML file that was generated by Flash Professional CC. Locate the canvas tag in the HTML document. Right after that line, add the following code. I'll first give a line break, then add a button HTML component. Button, add, button. Give it an on-click action and call a JavaScript function onAdd. We'll write this function soon. I'll also add a paragraph tag that I'll use to display the number of stars getting added. P. And close it. Give it an attribute ID and call it count. We are all set to write the function. Now locate a JavaScript function called handleComplete in the head section of the HTML document. Right after the function, let's create a count variable and reset it to 0. Now create a function onAdd. Inside it, where sgf is equal to player.getSceneGraphFactory. This line gets a reference to a factory that creates movie clip instances. Notice the player here. It is the main entry point of the API using which we will control the playback of the animation. Where star is equal to sgf dot create movie clip instance and pass the parameter star. This line creates an instance of the movie clip. We pass in the linkage name we specified in the library panel. Player.getStage.addChild at star, 0. This line first gets a reference to the root movie clip, the stage, and adds the newly created star instance as its child, thereby including it as part of the stage. Let me specify the position and other properties for this movie clip required for the animation. Where x is equal to math.random multiplied by 540, where y is equal to math.random multiplied by 180, where s is equal to math.random, where mat is equal to new Flash WebGL dot geom dot matrix and pass the parameter s, 0, 0, s, x and y. Now let's set the newly created matrix as the local transform of the star. Star dot set local transform of mat count plus plus, and lastly I'll update the count on the HTML document. Remember the paragraph tag we defined with the ID set as count? That's where I'll update the count. Document dot get element by ID of count dot inner HTML is equal to count plus count greater than 1 question mark stars or else star. That's all. Save this HTML file now, get back to Flash Professional CC and test the content by hitting Ctrl Enter on Windows or Command Enter on a Mac. This is it. Now if I click the Add HTML button Control, you'll see a new star added on the screen. Keep clicking and it keeps adding more. So, you have successfully created an interactive content for WebGL from Adobe Flash Professional CC. Thanks for watching.